copy the link. Oh no, send a link.
Send the link.
Send the link to somebody. Stacy.
Is it hot in here?
It's getting hot in here.
Is it hot?
I never warm.
Yeah, perfect. It's hot.
You're like in the incubator.
Okay.
It's so hot in here.
Stacy has it going on. New link.
Your boobs get huge when you have babies, did you know?
Yes. I didn't. They got smaller.
Mine got big and never went away.
And also, if you don't have them before,
Okay. Are we good?
Good.
We're good. Okay. All right. So I'm going to talk about stuff. When you're working your business, I've noticed in my own personal business that sometimes we get to a point where we're like not really happy. Has anybody ever went through that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yay! So exciting. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to make that better, because you can find joy in your life and your business at any point. It's a choice. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So first I'm going to go through, there's 10 reasons why people fail. And when I was looking through these reasons, I realized I have had all of them, especially when I first started. They were all there.
Okay.
Okay, but the really cool thing is that look at that now.
What's on your
I'm
lips?
not-
Powerful pink.
Nope, it's Flora, Desert Flora lipstick.
Wow, that's. Oh wow. I don't like any of those, so they don't go on me at all.
Well, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it
Put
is.
something else over it.
Yeah. You're like, that's not the point.
I have tried.
Oh,
I've tried. Yes.
This one stays on like all day on me.
It's so crazy. Yeah, I don't, and they like barely even go on my lips.
I don't
This
know.
goes up.
Put what up there?
Yeah, it goes up. And if
They
it goes,
recline
I'm
both of
not
them.
a-
All of
Anyway,
them.
okay, so the top 10 reasons why people fail. So you guys can write these down
and I'm in
if
the
you
middle,
want
so
to.
both have
If you
recline.
don't, then that's a choice that you make for yourself.
Yes.
Right.
So writing things up. I'm listening.
So write it down. So you make
I
good
am.
choices. Okay, so the first one that came from whoever national sales director this was, is poor people skills. Okay, so poor people skills is something that I definitely had. That was a strength of mine, is having poor people skills when I first started.
What does that mean?
So people that have really good people skills already, it's hard for them to understand poor people.
No, but I'm actually asking.
No, I know, because
so
it's
people can identify.
it's a lot. What helped me with my poor people skills is learning the disc, because I didn't understand how to talk to people. I was really abrupt and upfront and rude, and I just didn't know that there was anything different. And so you got to, like, having good people skills is being genuine and authentic. I didn't know how to be those. Okay, so like, and also, do you do most of the talking?
Mhm.
When you are in front of somebody, are you talking the most? I mean, obviously I am today, but that's different, right? Okay, so you have to kind of just check yourself. Like, are you thinking about them? Are you like, this is one of the things that I've really had to work on, is like when I'm in front of somebody, or if I'm texting somebody and they cancel on me, like today, I was gonna have a facial right after this, and she was like, I'm gonna have to cancel, this was yesterday, she's like, I'm gonna have to cancel, something happened in my family. And before I would have been like, girl, it's not a big, I wouldn't have said this, but I would think, whatever, just meet with me still, like, what are you gonna do? I'm like,
Your kid's dying?
your kid, I don't know, like, I would just,
Or like, great, your family's together. We can all just have a great party.
right, I'm like, we can still do it, it's not a big deal. But then, I mean, I've had to learn to practice and focus on being like, okay, what if something really, really bad did happen? I have to be sympathetic or empathetic or whatever. And so I had to ask her or tell her, be like, hey, I hope everything's okay. And she's like, it will be. And I was like, I didn't know what to say then, because I'm still working on this skill.
So upset.
So, one thing that you could say, or even still could say, is, okay, great, well, I'll just give you some time, and maybe I'll just follow back up with you, like in a week or so.
Yeah, see, that's good. Maybe I'll text her that today.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's something that I'm working, because I don't have that naturally. And so that is one of the reasons why people fail, is because they don't know how.
And they don't seek it out.
And they don't seek it out. So they don't know how to learn, which is one of the other ones. But the next one is having a negative attitude. Okay, so number 2 is having a negative attitude. Sharing your downfalls. Okay, so if I've seen this happen so many times, I'm at meeting, somebody's guests show up, and this is the first thing the consultant says to their guests. Oh man, my day has been so crazy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why are you sharing that? Like, why are you sharing those things with your guests? I know, like, they might be family or they might be really good friends, but, like, bring them into a positive atmosphere. Like, that's not one of the first things that you should share with people when you first see them, is your negative things that are happening to you throughout the day. That has happened so many times, I can't even tell you. Okay, so don't share your negative downfalls with people. Don't share what's happening bad. Like, bring them up, right?
Mhm.
Like, that is one of the things I used to do. I mean, Colette really slammed me on this one day. I went into her meeting, and I had like 10 people that were supposed to be there, and one of them showed up. And I was like so mad. Okay, my guest walked through the thing. I put her in the room. I came back out, and I was like, Colette, my people do not come. And this is dumb. And I am so mad. And I was just like going off. Yeah. Anyway, this is called having a negative attitude. And she said, Krista, you need to focus on the person that's here, or you need to leave, basically.
Whoa.
I know she said something similar to you at one point.
You sure did.
Anyway, and I was just like, oh.
I'm so grateful for it though.
I did too, because it
if
changed the way that I
somebody
thought.
doesn't ever call you out on it, like,
Right.
you don't know. And
You
so
don't know.
you guys, I mean, it's important.
Mhm.
Like, if you have something that your director sees that's gonna hold you back, it's important.
Right.
And that you're open to take that.
Right.
And then we took a lot from, like, we
Right.
took a lot of things
Mhm.
that Colette said, and we're like, yes, ma'am. I mean, because, like, we all wanted to be where she was,
Right.
so.
Right.
I
So
mean,
it
she
was
led us
hard
in
to
a good
hear,
direction.
and it was difficult to hear, but I needed it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you guys weren't always this amazing and open and
Oh, God,
fabulous
no.
and you
No.
were so, okay, thank
Oh
you.
no.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is, you know,
That's
all of
so
us now
nice.
thinking about, like, you saying
If you
that to
could
Colette,
see
we're
me.
like,
I know, you're like,
I
you
was like-
did. Well, I was a new
You really
consultant.
don't
Like,
have a different response for Colette, it's yes, ma'am.
but that's not necessarily true, but I mean, back then, like, when you just don't know, you just don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, yes, walking in and just doing that, like, you just didn't
I
know,
didn't know.
you know? And so she's, I mean.
I was just
also it's her
frustrated, and I
meeting.
didn't know how to do anything but wear my emotions outward.
Right, and it's her meeting, so she's also going to teach her consultants
Yeah.
how to treat people in her meeting. Like, and so that's really important to remember too, is it's not your meeting, it's your director's meeting, and you need to be incredibly respectful
Yeah.
at her meeting and like what she wants to have there.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
I love that you're sharing
Yeah.
this.
Negatives. Negative attitude. Right. Okay. So then the third one goes along with this. That is like if one of those instances happened, and I would have like been like, well, fine, I will just leave.
Mhm.
Not a big deal. Whatever. That's bad. Like that will not bring you success.
Or
That
hold
is one way-
grudges of why she said that. Or
Right. I
you
could have
did.
held on to that forever and been like, this is what Colette said to me. She didn't do it in a nice way. I mean, she totally did. But I could have made up all of these things like, this is how she talked to me. This is what she did wrong. This is what,
Yeah.
you know, like that is me not willing to grow
Right,
Yeah.
because I need to take responsibility for my actions.
right.
And so, yes,
Wow.
not willing to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did have that a few times when I was new. I did hold grudges for a while. I got mad at people and I was just like, that's their fault. Okay, emotional cycle, right? Okay, so number 4 is having a weak commitment. Okay, so like think of the last time you failed. Okay, the last time you failed. Was it because you stopped trying, or is it because it didn't go right? And so that's what made you stop. Because either way you stopped. So you got to figure out like, what was it? Why did you stop? Is it because you stopped trying, or is it because something went wrong and then you stopped trying? So either way, it's because you stopped trying, right? So having a weak commitment is not making that decision again and going forward again. You're just like, well, it didn't work out, so I'm gonna stop. That's what people, when they come into Mary Kay and they leave Mary Kay, they didn't try. Like
Or they started in home, like a business in general.
anything,
Something
yes,
like
they
that.
start something
Yeah.
and they just don't push through the hard things because everything's gonna have hard things. And so you just have to be committed inside and be like, I'm gonna just do this no matter what. Like I had a new girl start in January and she literally said to me, I don't care if I make money right away. Like I do, I really want to, but I know that I want to do this, and so I'm just gonna keep going no matter what happens.
So good. I
And
love
I'm
being
like,
on
shut the
board.
front door, who are you?
Your next director.
I know, I was like, the thing is like she has like a really not very good influence around her, and so I think she already knew that it was gonna be a little bit different for her. So, and it has been. I mean, she's really had to do a lot different things and work her business in a little bit different way than most of us starting. But
Mhm.
I mean, she has that like already mentality, like I'm just gonna keep on going no matter what happens. So that is, having weak commitment will make you fail. Okay, so the fifth one is a lack of focus. So allowing distractions to come in, allowing all those distractions. So going from task to task, not really completing anything, not really making anything like progress happen. So I want you guys real quick. I know that we do this like almost every time. I want you to list what distractions are you letting in right now.
Right now?
I mean, in your life.
Oh.
Yeah. So like what things are big right now that's like, there's so many different ones. Trip.
Distractions,
We're going
Jennifer.
on a
Oh,
trip.
your trip. Your trip is being your distraction.
I have a new puppy.
You have a new puppy. That is definitely a distraction.
A baby.
A big distraction.
Having a baby.
Birthing this month.
My son just made the baseball team.
Baseball team. Oh yeah, that's
I
exciting.
mean, that's,
Yay!
What else?
He made
Okay.
the JV team.
Oh, that's right.
What else is a distraction for y'all? Anything?
Social media.
Social media.
For reals.
Like,
Yeah,
seriously,
comparing.
seriously. No, I don't.
I don't-
not just
I don't do
comparing,
that, really.
Just the time aspect of it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I don't really compare.
It's just it's like a
Aimlessly
mindless
scrolling.
like
Yeah.
let's just look
Endless,
through.
mindless.
Oh, there's a
scrolling.
funny video. Haha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was really funny.
That did
Made
not
me
add-
brought me joy today. Just kidding. It
It,
doesn't.
it doesn't add value. to
Right. It
my
doesn't. Yeah.
life.
It doesn't add value. Okay. Any other things we can think of?
Other things that are, they're good things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
I
they
agree.
distract you.
Right.
So
So
they-
good things instead of doing the best things.
Yes.
Good, better, best. Yeah.
I think not having your priorities straight is a distraction for
Mhm.
me.
Okay. Yes.
And like every day, making sure that your priorities are straight, like at least every day, because sometimes I can't go like a whole week, but I can go a day.
Right.
Make sure that I do good today with my priorities.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, I think you would also have to go a step further with that and identify what those are.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because if you don't know what those are,
Right.
then there's no defining line. And so I also think like priorities
faith
and goals
first,
are
family
different.
second, career third, making sure that they're supporting each other, because sometimes putting your family first is not,
Supporting your career.
it's
Right.
not paying the bills. So
Right.
you're not really putting your family first.
Thinking of those in three separate things, that is not, they're all one thing.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's like a.
And making sure that, so like for me, like I've said no to family vacations multiple times. And realizing that my dad said no to family vacations too, and that it's a business
Mm-hmm.
decision, and that it's not something, because I think at the very beginning I had the same thing as, well, I'm just gonna keep going, I don't care if I make money, even though I'm sure I did, I'm sure I had
Right.
different thoughts. But I watched my dad, like with a furniture store, after 30 years in business, 80% of the furniture stores that were in business with him are gone. 80% of them. And so that's not just furniture stores, that's like
Everything.
so many people that said, oh, I want this to happen, I want the freedom and flexibility, I want this and this and this, but we have to be willing to put the time in. So like when life changes, cause like every 4 weeks, well, I guess for me, every 4 weeks, my body completely shifts. And so I've not had to, but I've chosen to take like a couple days where I'm like, do nothing, and brain is like, and I'm, whatever. But then after that week, I say, okay, I know what to expect for the next 3 weeks. And then, like mind over matter, but also like recognizing when you need downtime, but also with downtime that you need to counteract it with work time too.
Mhm.
Cause I am freedom and choice, but you don't get freedom and choice unless you're working.
Right. Right.
You can do it for a little while,
But it
I
doesn't
use
really
my
go
little
long
while.
term. Yes, yes. So yeah, if you guys wrote down your own distractions, then you have to figure out a way to make those, because the thing is, some of them are big. Like some of them are important. Like if you're planning a trip, like you have to plan it.
Yeah.
And like if your son made the
Baseball team.
baseball team, I mean, you have to like acknowledge that and be there to support, but you have to figure out a way to like make sure that you're still working your business and not letting it deter you from it.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So number yes.
So all of the distractions, because I was listening to everybody and I was writing down mine too. All of the distractions does not take as much time as what we are allowing it to. So preparing for babies, baseball teams, we all, in some part of our life, we all have it. We all have had it or will have it, or it's still a choice on what. Those things have to get done. I have 100 kids. There's a lot of things in the process of raising 100 kids that you have to do, but it doesn't take that time. And so I think sometimes, at least for me, it's more self-sabotaging than it is a distraction.
Yeah.
And so, and we allow that to happen. So being aware of our distractions and being aware of what we're really doing, because it really doesn't take that much time.
I think the biggest thing that you just reminded, and I had it, so I'm so glad that you said that, but I realized that when I was so for consultants in the room that are wanting to go into DIQ, I remember legit conversations at different points in my business where I was just about to go the next level. And I would talk to Jen and I would say all my worries, what if, do you remember this? Like, what if this, what if this, what if this? And it's come up again with baby. So it's for a huge distraction for me is pre-worrying about something that hasn't happened yet. So pre-worrying about what if I'm not a good director? What if I'm not as amazing as everyone here? What if I'm not, well, you forget the directors still think that, nationals still think that.
Right.
But at least the difference is you just keep trying. Is that you want to be that good. You want to be that good for your own self, not anyone else's opinion. But that was something for me that was huge, was I can't pre-worry, because I have a lot to pre-worry, and I think a lot of people have a lot to pre-worry about. If you let it, and I think sometimes you just have to release it, because you can't really do anything about it now. You just have to let it happen and then hope that your director and your coach can help you as well as like putting God first. So if God's in your business as well, like doing that so that you can at least, put everything together. But that was a huge thing that almost held me back from even becoming a sales director. And then even when I was a sales director, staying a sales director at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And so I'm super glad that I had a director that could remind me, like, this is just pre-worrying about something that has not happened.
And might not ever happen.
Right.
Right.
And you can't say that it's gonna happen because, a big worry was no one's gonna love me as much as I loved my sales director. No one's gonna do that. And that was a huge worry. I think a lot of people worry about that when, I don't know, but, you can't say that to your sales director and you have your people with you.
Right.
So.
Okay. Anyway, all right. Where's my the next one? I didn't number them, so I just have dots.
Yeah,
Okay,
number
so the unwillingness to change is, it's kind of similar to not being willing to grow, but to change like what you're doing. So like if you think, you come into Mary Kay and you don't listen to your director say use the scripts, and you're not willing to change that, it's not going to work for you. You have to be willing to have the, to just accept what they're saying, because they're in a spot that you're not.
Right.
And being willing to be uncomfortable and do the things, like say things that are a little bit different, and being willing to veer and change and pivot when you need to, I think is sometimes so hard for new consultants to do that, because it is completely out of your everything in Mary Kay, I feel like, is out of a lot of people's comfort zones.
Or if you've been in Mary Kay for a while.
Or if you've been
you
in,
know what
you're
you're doing, and then they're like, well, do this different. And I'm like, you don't even know. I know the right way. I don't ever say that, but I know people do.
Yeah.
In their brains.
Right.
I also think it's just consultants.
Yes,
Every
I agree.
step of the way, we're learning and growing, and if
We need to
we are
change.
complacent in any part of our business, and we can be top dog national and still be complacent. And so when you're not open to be willing to do what the suit ahead of you has already done,
Or what God tells you to do, you're like,
then
nah.
you're complacent. Then you are gonna be just like that new consultant not using the script.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Here's the other thing, when hard things come, like growing and whatever, when hard things come, we think that that's a sign that we're not supposed to do this, and it's actually a sign that, yes, this is what I need. Yes?
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you, Nola.
We all, I
Goodness
mean, we always
gracious.
hear, or I always say too, I mean, God didn't change his mind, you did.
Right.
Yeah.
You have, oh my goodness.
Or you think you're
No
like
idea
not-
how many times this
yeah.
actually happens.
Oh, I know.
Where a consultant will be like, yeah, I just, I prayed about it and it's, he doesn't want me to do this anymore. And I'm like, but he did.
Mhm.
Like, nothing changed with that. You changed your mind and he's like, all right, I'll accept it. That's what happened.
Justify it.
You justify it, you make up your mind, and then he's like, all right, I'll go with you. Like, I'm not going to force you to do something. But it's really like, I have this really big conviction. If he laid something on your heart that you need to do, like if you have it in your heart that you're supposed to be like in a leadership position in Mary Kay, that is there.
Right.
And it doesn't change. That means you're going to be successful. That means there's people's lives that you're supposed to change and like be involved and like influence people. And just because you change your mind with that doesn't mean that's not still what you're supposed to do. Like you can change your mind and do something else. Like people do that. People do that in Mary Kay all the time. But that doesn't change the fact that there were people there that were supposed to be with you. So there you go. All right. If you resist change, you're only resisting your own success. That's it. All right. So the next one is having a.
Whoa, say that one more time.
Oh, if you resist change, you're only resisting your own success. Yeah. Okay. So the next one is having a shortcut mindset. Now let me tell you a little story about myself.
I've done that.
Yes. Okay.
What was number 2?
Having a shortcut mindset. Okay, so when I was a brand new director, I was just like, okay, there's got to be a better way to do all of this. So I literally, for the first year, hopped around from idea to idea to idea to idea, all of these different things, because I thought that there needs to be a more efficient, faster, better way to do everything. Okay, was I very successful my first year? No, I wasn't. I struggled.
What was, sorry, say this one again.
Shortcut mindset.
Shortcut mindset.
Yep, I struggled. I struggled hardcore because I just kept looking for the best thing. And the best thing is what got me into directorship, right? So having a shortcut mindset, it's cutting corners. It's a sign of poor self-discipline. That's all it is. Okay, it never pays off in the long run. You just get frustrated. You just procrastinate. You just, everything. It's just not happy times. It's not happy times. So just do the things that you're supposed to do, the way that you're supposed to do them, and you'll be good.
I heard a thing from Hal Elrod said that the overnight success takes 10 years. So true.
It is. It,
Overnight success takes 10 years.
Can I say one more thing? I'm sorry I talk so much. I love that you're sharing this. I don't know if I say this, but then I don't know if my senior's gonna say something different. But like, no, you don't think like that. But it's so amazing. Like, I just wanna say, like, being the kid of watching a dad who worked his business and like putting his socks on every morning and like going to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, not coming home till 10:30 at night, and having all the kids and all the chaos. Like, I knew starting a business would give freedom, but I also knew that there was no shortcuts, and something that I think that Jen really would try and plug in, and that I understood, but it was just such a quick, good reminder that just clicked with me, was you have to enjoy the journey along the way. Because it was really sad, actually, the first time, or the second time we earned our Cadillac, or the first time, I don't remember, but I remember being on the phone and being disappointed in myself. Because it wasn't good enough. I could have done better. I should have done better. And and she just always would remind me and say, you have to be grateful for what God has given you now, because He won't give you more until you recognize it. And I think that's kind of thinking the shortcut way, or knowing, and I think also like having kids or anything that's important to you. If you don't enjoy, my dad always said, like, if you are not happy earning $1 an hour, you'll never be happy earning $100 an hour. And he would say that to me all the time. And it was just really cool to watch him. And I think, like, obviously, well, just because it's gonna be new for me to have a kid, like, it really brings back all those memories of how my dad set the example and how crazy it is for us that we get to set that example for, like, our kids or our husbands or people around us, and they get to watch us, you know, either be negative on social media or be negative in person or be someone that's different. They get to watch the change. The coolest thing was when my mom said, Jen, I'm so proud of you. A couple years ago, she said, I'm so proud of you. And my dad said it too, I'm so proud of you on how you rally your team. I talked about my dad at my meeting one time, and it was a funny thing, but he talked to me after, and he said, I'm so proud of you for the way that you rally your women, and you really believe in them, and you really love them. And he says, he just said, I'm really impressed with what Mary Kay has done for you and what you've done with Mary Kay. And so I think, like, even though we might not think people are watching, people's lives could be changing because, you know, they're watching. So taking shortcuts, I think we forget about all the people that are watching us because they don't care about the shortcuts. They care about, no one really wants to hear the story that you went fast. They want to know, how did you
They want to know
overcome
your
this?
struggles.
Yeah. Because when they go through it, that was one thing I remember as my director, like, she would always relate to me. Oh, I remember feeling that way. I remember feeling that way. That happened to me. And I knew how great she was and that she is. And so I was always like, well, then I can be great too. I can be great too. If this has happened to me, I can be great too. And it was just such a realization, whether you have team members or not, remember that what you're building right now is what you're going to be speaking of later
Right.
to other people. So we don't want a shortcut because
It's true,
you're
because
shortcutting your story.
yeah, and you need a crazy, awesome story. Just
Yeah.
kidding. Not super crazy. You don't need one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is relying on talent alone. This is one of them that I didn't struggle with. But so if you are somebody who's like really charismatic and just things come easy for her, like right at the beginning, sometimes they rely on that. But adding a strong work ethic to that is like adding gas to the fire. So like I never had the talent thing, but I know a lot of people that have, and when the talent kind of starts running out or whatever, but then their work ethic isn't there, then they end up like really struggling, really struggling. Some people, and so it's really hard for them to rely like, oh yeah, like I can go into every party and be like $500, $600, $1,000, but then it's like what happens when that doesn't happen? You know, they don't know any different. And so then it's like difficult and they don't know what to do, kind of. Yeah,
Because they don't have the confidence in like the work pattern. I've always watched
the work pattern.
because I got to watch her book, and she's like a booking crazy machine.
Right.
And I was the person who definitely relied on talent, and I did really good on talent. But when you have to actually work,
Right. And you're like, what?
like, wait a minute, I don't have $1,000 words every time. What the crap?
Yep.
Well, how are you
Yep.
gonna teach anyone?
Mhm.
How are you going to like?
Yeah, you just tell them, be awesome. You can do it.
Right.
You're just gonna be awesome like me.
Right.
So
But yeah, you can't teach that.
no.
Yeah.
You can't duplicate yourself if you can't teach it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so the next one is acting on poor information. Okay, so before I started my Mary Kay business, I went and Googled a lot of stuff, and it was really hard. Okay. Huh? Poor information, acting on poor information. So like getting information from people, like if you go side to side, if you're like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to my sister consultant instead of talking to your director, she could definitely give you some poor information that you don't know that it's poor. And so that's why we always go up. We always go up. We never go side to side because you don't know what they're gonna give you. You don't know what mindset they're in. You know, if they're in a poor mindset, they're gonna give you poor information. You know? And so just being really, really careful about who you are talking to, who you are getting information with. I know that a lot of, I've heard a lot of people be like, well, I talked to my sister about this and blah, blah. And I'm like, has she ever been a successful Mary Kay consultant? Like, why are you listening to her?
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't know. She doesn't know. And so it's, yeah, you just gotta be really careful where you're getting information from. And the 10th one, the last one, is not having set goals with set deadlines. I know Jen mentioned this at the beginning, but this is actually something that I still struggle with because I forget to set deadlines. Like, it doesn't occur to my brain that I need a deadline for my goal until somebody tells me, when are you gonna do that by? And then I'm like, oh, I never thought of that before. So
Well, for sure by seminar, for
I
sure.
know, right? Like, I mean, by the deadline. But having a set goal with a set deadline, because if you don't have a deadline, it's not going to happen. It will not happen. If you wait until, to the end of June to earn the cruise, and that's your deadline just because it's the default deadline, that's not your deadline. You're not setting that. You're letting somebody else. So Linda Tupin will always say, you are who you are by the choices you make or allow others to make for you. If you're allowing the company to create that deadline for you, you're not making that choice. And it's not going to happen. There you go.
Great, I like it.
Are you done?
No.
Oh.
What? No, I have
was
now
like,
we
You're not done, I'm ready.
No. Now I have to. So we talked about all the reasons why people fail. So now you know how to stop yourself from failing. But now we're going to talk about how to increase your joy in your business. Because without having joy in your business, you are not going to stay. You're not going to keep going when it's hard. Okay? So Gloria Mayfield Banks. This was from her. She has five ways to increase your joy in your business. And you can do this at any time. And it's just these simple things that you can do. So it is proven, and this gave me a heart attack when I read it because I'm an introvert and I don't like to be around people a lot because then I like to just be by myself. It's so fun, you guys.
I'm the
Love it.
best.
It is so much fun. Okay, so, but she said it is proven, scientifically proven, that when you spend 6 to 7 hours a day socializing with people, you have a higher level of happiness. But this, not socializing with bad people, bad influencers. Let's just talk about this for a second. And that could be as a director, on Mondays, I spend time talking to my people, I coach them, we set up appointments, half-hour appointments. That could be
Booking.
part of my socializing. Booking, talking to people, being in front of people, or, having a party that takes 2 hours, just that time being, you could be with your family. It doesn't mean you spend all, how many hours do we spend a week? 16. Okay? I'm like, what is that? That's not even half of your day. You still have a whole rest of the day to be alone.
I wonder what it would do if someone did this as a test trial.
They
in your
did.
business. They
So that
did.
just means
That's why it's
being
proven.
either around people or talking and to people on the phone or whatever. It's not it's just anything that's not locked away in your closet.
Right. Just being,
Gotcha.
talking to people, being around people, being, yes.
Well, do your kids and your husband count though?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
There are people.
Sometimes if you want to get away from your kids, you gotta go lock yourself in your closet.
It's true.
Yeah, the bathroom isn't even.
Oh my gosh,
No.
I love my apartment because it has a door on my bedroom and a door to my bathroom in my bedroom. So when he is out there, I can lock it, but then I can go in my bathroom and turn on the fan. I can't hear him. Just so you know,
Creative.
it doesn't last that long.
Yeah.
With
But-
his little fingers underneath the door.
But I can't see him because he's on the outside.
There's 2 doors.
That's why there's 2 doors. It's the best situation ever.
I just give my child to someone.
I need that. It never fails. I go to the bathroom and my kid and my cat
It happens
are trying
every
to get
time.
my door
Oh, yeah,
open.
I have a dog.
That's why there's 2 doors, and it's just
Right.
perfect.
I need that.
All right. Anyway, so it is proven, and if you're an introvert and you disagree with me, I'm sorry, but this is from Gloria Mayfield Banks, and she got it from a scientific thing, and I had a hard time when I learned it, but it's okay because it's proven.
Okay,
And
so
I
it's 6
trust
to 7 hours a
scientific.
day socializing.
6 to 7 hours a
I
day.
think that would be cool. I meant to say what would I would be excited to see what would happen if you tracked it.
So track it.
For me.
I'm an introvert and
It
too
freaks
much
me out.
time alone is not good.
It's true.
That is true, because then I'm like, this is
Then I'm depressed.
that. Yeah, you're like, this is great, and then all of a sudden you start feeling, I'm just gonna sit on my couch for days.
Yeah.
There's an opposite to that too, where if you like to be around people all the time, you have to take that time to be by yourself.
And I think when she says like 6 to
Right.
7, I mean, I don't think it's more or less. I think it's 6 to
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Like-
Consistent.
Right. Not more, not less. I think that's what they're saying here.
The
So
hotline does count or does it?
No, that's
No,
not
that's not a
socializing.
person.
Oh,
They're
that's,
listening.
oh,
there's nobody inside the phone.
well, there is.
There's nobody really on the other end.
But
They're
they're
just
gonna talk to you, but they're not gonna respond if you talk to them.
right. So
So
that's
it doesn't count.
It's perfect.
anyway. Okay. So the second way you can increase your joy is to remember. Okay. So 81% of negative things that you tell people, they remember. But only 31% of positive things is what, like, so they remember 81
That's negative.
and 31. Yeah, so 81% of the negative, 31% of the positive.
Yeah,
So what are people getting from you?
It's exactly what happens though. I mean, it takes 10 times to like counteract like
The
a negative thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
10 positives to counteract a negative.
Right.
So that would be about right.
Yeah. So what are people absorbing from you? And what are you absorbing from the people that you're hanging out with?
And what was the positive number?
31. 31% of the positive things they will remember from you. 81% of the negative things they'll remember from you. So what are you absorbing? What are people absorbing from you?
That makes sense, we have to repeat positive things over and
So
over.
many times because they don't get it.
Yep.
They don't get it.
But they hold on to like that one.
That one negative. And the thing is, we as women understand this, right? Because if somebody says, like, if your significant other or your kid or forever, right? We know this. You're gonna hold on to that forever. You're gonna be like, but that one time 3 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
when you said this to me, it doesn't matter if they spent 3 years trying to make up for that one time. We remember that.
Why?
Right?
So are you saying that's a bad thing or
It is
that's
bad
a
thing.
normal thing? Oh, okay.
It's a normal thing, but it's
It's
not.
a normal bad thing.
It's a normal bad thing. Yeah. It's just how our brains process stuff.
Okay. That's called holding grudges or does it have a name?
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a grudge. We just remember it and it's like potent to us. Because it's
Not
not one
allowed.
bad
Poison.
thing.
It's like
I was gonna-
poison.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a good example of this, like, so when I was in high school, I had basically like an arch enemy kind of thing, like it's that always beat me just by like that much and everything. We were actually like decent friends. Like I didn't really consider like her like an enemy, I guess. But my parents hated her, and anytime she beat me at anything, I think because I talked negatively about her, my parents were like super freaky about it, and they were just like freaking. They were like
Because they
seriously.
only know the negative.
Yeah, because I would only talk about all the times she beat me and never talk about all the times that we like, laughed in band together and like did choir together, and stuff. And so for me, like when we finally actually became real friends, like I was like, oh no, that like it's not weird. Like yeah, she's good at a lot of stuff, but like not like
But your parents
better
were
than me.
like,
But my parents were like, what? You're friends with Michaela Geyer? They're like, what? They're like, no. They like couldn't accept it. So like it's like that kind of thing because I'd only spoken negatively about her my entire childhood from like first grade all the way till like my senior year.
Right.
So yeah.
Makes sense.
okay, the next, oh, what? Sorry. Yes.
That kind of reminds me of when I was a consultant, and I remember Jen doing a training about, this kind of goes with, who to talk to, talking about your sales director versus straight across to a sister consultant, or your husband, or anybody else coming in and talking to them, so you would come into, and I would say something to my husband, oh my goodness, and this person, or whatever's going on in my team, or whatever, and then he still remembers that person not doing something that I thought she should be doing in her business, not my business, in her business. And then he's like, oh, but no, we're good now. But he doesn't understand, it's just because he's only heard me. So he will retain that. So what are we saying to our spouses? What are we going home saying to other people? What are you saying to our moms, our sisters? I mean, that's huge.
Yep.
It's huge because they will remember that, and they will remember that as your Mary Kay business.
They
Right.
also state they're protective. The ones we love are protective of us.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's really important. I mean, if this is not what you're training, but it's really important, like what we're telling our spouse or significant other or whatever, because that's the only thing that they hear us talk about.
Right.
And then, just like what you're saying, they'll remember 81%, so even if I tell him,
Something
that she
good.
did this,
Yeah.
this, and this, he's still gonna remember this. So that, it's so important, it's so important.
Yeah, and maybe remember one small thing that's good,
Mhm.
but not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so so the third one. 10% of happiness comes from circumstances. 90% is up to you. But a lot of times we let our circumstances control our happiness. It's like if something bad is happening to us in our lives, or something crazy, or something that's just like, whatever, then we sometimes let that control us and take it away when we can actually decide on our happiness ourselves. But because really only 10% of our happiness is affected by that, if we have control of the other 90%, right? So if a family member dies, we have control of the 90% of how we react to that. It is sad, and all of that 10% is gonna happen, and we are gonna be sad, and that's gonna affect us, but we can control the other 90% of what we do with that. So that's hard to hear for some people. So don't let your circumstances define you. Okay, the fourth one is the best way to increase short-term happiness is by doing random acts of kindness. So that's for your short term.
So the only way
To increase your short-term happiness is doing random acts of kindness. So if you're not happy, you want to be happy right now, go do something for somebody.
yes.
Has anybody ever it's real. It totally.
My dad would say that all the time.
What?
My dad would say that all the time.
Yeah.
If you're cranky, go do something. Go vacuum the carpets.
Right.
Serve.
Right. And you're like, no, I don't want to do that, but it really
I
does
always
help.
felt better.
You always feel
Really
better. Okay, so then the last one is the best way to increase your long-term happiness is to understand your strengths and talents, your life purpose, and share it with others.
Say that one more time.
So the best way to increase your long-term joy is to understand your strengths, your talents, your life purpose, and share it with others. And if you don't know what your talents or your strengths are, there's so many people in your life that can help you figure that out. Your life purpose might, work itself out. You figure that out if you don't know it yet. But if you understand it and you know those things, you can share it with others. That will increase your long-term happiness. Why in the world do you think team building is so much fun? Right? When you get a new team member, you're sharing things that, obviously, if you're getting a team member, you obviously have a talent for sharing your passion, okay? And then you've developed talents in Mary Kay, you develop all of these strengths in Mary Kay, and then you're sharing it, you're giving it to others. It really does make you happy. Mary Kay makes you happy. It helps you with your joy. So much fun. So much fun. I love that. Okay, so that's why Mary Kay was always pass it on, because then your life is going to be happy. It's really a selfish thing. It's I'm going to give this business to other people so I can be happy. Just kidding. It's not really a selfish thing, but kind of. If you're a selfish person, you think about it that way. It drives me, because I don't get any joy from making people happy. Anyway, all right. So I'm just selfish. It's fine. I've accepted it. Anyway, all right. But some people are like, oh my gosh, I love helping people. It's so great. All right. So, right? Some people are like that. I'm not. I have a unit member who literally told me, you know how it's your dreams are tied to others? That whole concept brings her nothing, because she doesn't care about people she doesn't know yet. All the people that she doesn't know that are gonna be on her unit or her national area or whatever her goals are in her life, she doesn't care because she doesn't know those people. But some people that's I can find all of these people and bring them happiness, and that really drives them. So it just depends on what drives you.
Okay, so what about people you do know?
You can, for me personally,
Not that much.
it's exciting when they're happy. I like it when people make money.
Mhm.
When I have unit members that have big parties and stuff, it makes me happy for them. But that doesn't drive me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
But I figured that out about myself because I used to feel bad about that. I used to be like, how am I supposed to have so much excitement and I mean, I am excited, but like other people are like driven by that. And they're like, oh, I want to help them make money. I want to help them change their lives. I have to find it a different way. I have to find out what it can do for me.
I think it's important that if you know that that's not something, and I think at times it'll change. It might be different in 5 years to be like, that totally, right, like,
Yeah, but right
drives me,
now,
but it doesn't right now.
I have to find out why it helps me.
Yeah.
Like, what's in it for me here? And then I will be excited about it.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's not that I'm not happy for them because I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so great. You earned like $200 for your family. That's fantastic. But that doesn't move me.
In my brain, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's great. I gotta go to a party because that's so weird.
Right, me too. I'm like, oh, they're above me. I mean, I need to go to a party now because they just made more money than me.
Or like,
Okay,
I
that
can do
makes
it
more
too.
sense.
But some people thrive off of that. Stacy, she's like, oh, I just helped them. It's so great. I'm gonna go do more.
see, no, I don't do that.
I don't do that. No, does not do anything.
If I coach someone and they like had a win, that's huge. That's true.
Because I help, because you help, because
Because
it's
I
you.
was helpful. I like to be helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
But in reality, is that not what we teach, is what's in it for them? That's
Right.
a human, that's
It's a human thing. That's why I
thing.
accepted it,
And
and
you
I'm
have
like,
more
it's
Christ,
really
right.
all about me.
Right.
But I'm okay with that.
Right.
I've learned to be okay with it because everybody's different.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there you go. All right. So the next thing, real fast. Okay, so I'm just gonna go. Okay, so now the thing is, now we know how to have joy in our business. We know how not to fail, right? All of these things. But the thing is, we have to put it into action because just knowing this knowledge is not going to do anything for us. Okay, we can know all of these things. We can get so many trainings. This is my strength, is getting lots of trainings and not lots of knowledge. But what I have to work on is implementing the things, okay? Because I'm a sponge. I absorb everything. But then I have to go do stuff. So, did y'all do pace setters?
Yeah.
Okay, so Bobby tries to control our thoughts.
Lobotomy?
Bobby.
Oh.
Remember Bobby the guy?
Yep, I do. Sorry, I heard lobotomy.
Lobotomy. No, Bobby.
Sorry.
So if you didn't do pace setters, Bobby's just your internal thoughts that sabotage you. Okay? So we named him. Leah named him, and so I just call him. My whole unit's calling him Bobby because that's what Leah said. Okay? So Bobby tries to control our thoughts, but the thing is, are we drifters? And we let Bobby take our thoughts and come back and then let her, or are we like constantly trying to take control of our thoughts and our joy and our failures and figuring out how to make it better and figuring out how to be changeable? What's it called? Teachable. Figuring out how to be teachable and how to grow. Or are we letting him guide us, Bobby? Because we have that choice. Okay? So, Roxanne McEnroe, okay, she said, she told this story, but it's really, really good because her son and her were going to go on a trip and he was having all of these crazy things happen. He was getting in a negative place. And so she was like, I don't want you to take that on the trip. So I need you to leave it in a box in the door, at the airport. Okay? So you're going to put all your thoughts, you're going to put Bobby in a box, is basically what she's saying. And you're going to leave it at the airport and then you're going to come. So he did that. And he had a great time on their trip and everything. And then she asked him on the way, like when they got home, they're like, so did you pick up Bobby at the airport? And he said no. Okay, because he was able to physically put Bobby in a box and all of these thoughts that we have that like hurt us and make us afraid and make us like stop our business or make us not reach our goals or make us all of these things. He just put it in a box and he left it there physically in his thoughts. He put him away and then he was able to enjoy and have all of these great experiences. And then he didn't need him again, right? Because he was holding on to that at first. And then he's like, no, I don't need this in my life. I don't need these thoughts. So I want you to be aware, like, what are the thoughts that Bobby's telling you? What are these thoughts that come up randomly throughout the day? I want you to write some down if you come up with them.
No.
They come up throughout the day and you're just like, what is this? Like if you're sitting down, you know, and you're supposed to be booking and you're like, ah, man, I should probably go do the dishes first. That's Bobby. And you need to acknowledge that and be like, Bobby distracts me with things that I don't need to be doing. But you need to be consciously aware of that, or else you're never ever going to get rid of those thoughts. It's just not going to work. And so you need to be aware of that. So, and then you need to sit there and be like, is that a realistic thought?
Right.
Like, do I have to do that before I go book? Or can I book first and then do that as my reward? I mean, I clean as my reward. Yes.
Okay, so I totally do that, and that's actually, can I just like explain my thought process though? So I'll sit down to book, and I'll be like, and I'll start booking, I'm like, crap, what if somebody wants to come over and do a facial today? Like, my house is trash, I have got to clean my house before I do this, just in case somebody wants to come over and do a facial today. Like, what if they wanna come right now, and my house is a disaster? So I'll clean my house, and then I'll book. That's how my thought process works.
Okay, so how can you change that?
Stop listening to myself.
Are you in Idaho Falls? Where do you live?
Afton.
Yeah.
Go to their house.
But
I
what
was
can
gonna
you
say,
change?
do
Because the
you
thing
want
is,
me to clean
you
your house?
you can't really change a thought unless you replace it with something different.
Yeah.
So what kind of thought could you replace that with?
If somebody wants to come over and book today, I can 15-minute power clean.
There we go.
You figure it out. You figure out a different way.
I think I just need to like make myself a schedule and then make myself follow it.
The other thing is you need to delegate that out so your house is always clean, so you don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's
can't
taking that
afford
much
that yet.
time, that you're that worried about it, like, you need to delegate that out.
Don't say that you can't afford it.
Okay.
Because there's a
That's a
big
thought.
difference. Like I was in
That's
DA
Bobby
for
thought.
and I,
That's a Bobby thought.
yeah.
Because that time that you spent cleaning your house, you could have been booking, or you could have been holding an appointment that would have made you the money to pay for your cleaner.
And if you just get your cleaner and start paying for it, you'll just automatically.
You will.
Yeah.
And you will get so addicted.
And you will rise to that.
Just saying.
And it will make you feel more confident, and I think just like getting a full inventory, it makes you feel like I'm a business owner. I'm taking control of my own life and letting my 10% circumstance dictate.
Yes, Krista.
Oh my gosh. I just have to tell you, I procrastinated getting Emerson childcare, like it's consistent childcare, for so long because I was like, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. All of these things, right? I was talking to Stacy in the fall, and I was like, I don't know how to do this because like I'm trying to book, but I don't have time to do it, and he's distracting me, and all of these things, and I can't get done what I need to get done because he's there, but I can't make him go away because I don't have the money to do that. Okay? It was so hard. Like, let me just tell you, it was so hard, this dilemma that I had, because putting him in a part-time childcare was a lot more money than I had ever spent on him with childcare before, right? So it was a really big leap. But then I was like, what happened? How did it? I had like a really good month.
And I said, go do it.
And yeah, and Stacey, so I had like a pretty good month.
You
And
bought the cheese.
I bought the stinking cheese.
I made her do that too.
Right. And I bought it, so I had a pretty good month, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just take this extra money instead of putting it toward like my student loans or my debt or whatever I usually do for it. I usually pay off something or try it. Anyway, so instead of doing that, I took it and I put him in childcare, not even knowing how I was gonna pay for it the next month. Not even knowing. And
Can I ask how much that was?
yeah,
How much? Okay, I'm asking.
it's pretty.
She can talk to you about that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't know how I was going to pay for the next month. But I just did it anyway. And the thing is, I've been able to pay for it ever since. Because now I have the time to book.
Right.
I have a set time every single day, a few hour time span where I can get done the things that I need to get done, that I can make sure. So I have time to book. I have time to put facial boxes out. I have time to focus. I have time to work out. I have time to do all of these things that I didn't, like, it was so stressful to do that before, and it was taking up so much brain power that I would maybe try to get some bookings done every day, but like I might or might not have that happen because he was there and he was distracting me.
See, and I've been struggling with that too now that I'm not, because like now that I feel like now that I don't have a job, I have less time than I did before. Like I'm busier than I was before.
Right, because
And I think it's tiring.
Mm-hmm.
It's because like I'll go sit down to book and he'll be watching a movie or something and then he gets bored and wants to come and
Just
see what
buy
I'm
the
doing
stinking
and it
cheese.
just,
Just buy the
If you guys don't know the cheese story, just ask it.
It was expensive cheese, she never bought it before.
I love smoked Gouda. But when I lived in Rexburg, I was like dirt poor. And like, I didn't know how to buy the cheese, but I really wanted it.
Stacy made
Stacy
the
told me buy the
cheese.
cheese. It wasn't in my budget. Okay, so
And she
anyway,
did.
and I did buy the cheese, and it actually was a kind of freedom for me because I was like, I
Bought the cheese.
can
do
do
it.
things.
I could do anything.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a big step for me.
Right.
I mean, Taco Bell was a big step for me back then because I was so poor. Anyway, poor mentality is what I'm talking about. And I didn't have money, but I also thought poor. Okay. So anyway, but the thing is, okay, so then you figure out how to control your thoughts and you change them and you're aware of them and all of these things. But then you need to find out how many people are standing in between you and your goal because it's all numbers. So you need to find that number out. How many people do you need to talk to? So the magic number thing, we're not going to do that right now, but you figure out like how many parties you need to hold because of your averages and the people that you talk to, the people that you interview, you find out how many people you actually have to book. Then you find out how many people you need to talk to book that many people. Then you find out how many leads you need to have. Okay? So how many people are standing in between you and your goal? Because that is all that's keeping you from that. So if it's 50 people, you can get that done. If it's 100 people, you can get that done. You find out what that number is, and then you go do it. You set a deadline, you timeline for it, and you're like, I'm going to see or talk to, I'm going to try to book this many people by this time, and you will have your goal. It's the numbers. It's the numbers. So you just have to figure out how many people are standing in between you and your goal. That's it. So now we're gonna just real quick figure out some things. So you're gonna write down what your goal is. Like, what is your goal that you've been focusing on or that you want to be focusing on that has been distracting you from focusing on it? It could just be moving up to team leader. It could be getting into DIQ. It could be, I just need to make this money for my family this month. Like, whatever that is. The cruise, whatever it is, your big goal that you're just like having a hard time, like maybe picturing or figuring out how you're gonna have that happen or whatever it is, okay? You're gonna write down that goal.
Oh, so not the one we're currently working on, but the one that,
Or the one that you're currently working. I mean, you already have it like established. So
so a different one.
that could be, I mean, it could be yours or you can pick a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want you to think of when you complete that goal, how will you feel? I want you to write that down. How will you feel?
I'll be tan, drinking drinks.
You complete that goal and you feel what? And then I want you to write down, how will your significant other feel? Or your kid? Or whoever is in your life that is close to you. How will they feel about you doing that?
He'd be pissed he can't come. Why me stuff? Just kidding.
How will they feel about you doing that? I was like, there's a little girl, I don't know. Yeah, so how will that person feel? Or how will they look at you? If that's better. How will they feel about you? How will they look at you? What will they say to you? And then I want you to write down, how will you celebrate that? What are you going to do to celebrate that?
I like this one's motivating.
How are you going to celebrate that? Okay? Because the thing is there's so much more waiting for you than that one goal that you have. There's so much more waiting for you. And what we don't want to have happen is you get tired before you're there because you don't have joy in the journey. So you know how to find the joy. You can do those things, right? You can have it and those people that are gonna feel or look at you that way, how you're gonna celebrate it, how you're gonna feel about it yourself. Now I want you to think, if you don't do that, how will you feel? If you don't do that goal, you don't complete that goal, how are you gonna feel? Right? Jen really put this into perspective for me on Monday. You didn't go through this process, but this is what the process
Like when I
went through.
said I'll tag you for all of you that.
Yes,
don't know.
I was like, no, no.
I said when
Oh, that's right.
when we're done and we're
Cruise,
leaving
I'll
on the
tag
cruise, I'm gonna
everybody.
tag everybody that didn't earn it. And when we're leaving on the,
So
in the
listen,
picture.
And she'll have
And that
Jen's
was
picture
like,
in her hand.
bam! Oh my gosh.
It's happening.
What if I didn't
And
earn
I'm
that?
gonna say, gosh, I wish you were here.
Right. So yeah, how are you gonna feel? How is that person, the significant other or your kids or whoever else was close to you, how is that person going to feel or look at you if you don't do it? What are they
The
gonna
sad
say?
part will be like, some people, like how sad would it be if your personal, people that loved you the most were like, it's okay, like it's not a big deal, you have a lot going on and you didn't rather than being like, wow, I knew you could do it. That would be so sad to see the difference.
Right?
There will be those people though
They
that
will.
that give you that out.
And those are the people you wanna be with.
Right.
You know right away.
Mhm.
And then, and then you had to find something that excites
Well, it'd be
you.
sad for you because you're the one that personified that into them.
Right.
That's why it's sad.
That is
Yeah, they're
sad.
revoicing your
They're
fears that
revoicing
you
what you
voiced to them.
said, and I think that's the sad part.
And then you'll know why you didn't complete that goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you gotta find something that excites you. For example, this is the last thing I'm gonna say. So, for example, so right now, I'm earning my Equinox again, okay?
Yay.
Which is so exciting, it doesn't excite me, okay? But you gotta find something that excites you. So like whatever your goal is, like my goal is the Equinox this month. That's not exciting me, okay? But my goal is also, because then as soon as I earn my Equinox, I will know in my mind I am on target for my Cadillac.
Yeah.
Okay? That doesn't excite me either. Okay? So you have to be real
Does
with
a
yourself.
paycheck attached to it excite you?
No.
Do you
I'll
know
tell
what
you
that
I'll tell you what
paycheck is?
excites me because I had to figure it out.
Okay.
Because the car itself,
Yeah.
it's fun and it is exciting, but it's not moving me. And I was focused so long on the car that I wasn't being moved because it wasn't exciting me at all. At all.
Because you already had a car.
But because now I understand, and I've known that my basic need is safety and security. I've known that. But what I need to do is find something that excites me that's going to make me feel safety and security. The cars don't make me feel safe. They don't make me feel secure. A little bit, but not really. And so you have to find out what excites you about earning that goal. So what really excites me is building my unit to 100. That is exciting to me because I feel like when I get to 100, I will be stable.
It's true.
I will be secure.
Yeah, it's true.
I will be safe. And that is what's moving me. And that's going to get me to my car. So you have to find out what excites you about whatever goal you have so that you can focus on that. If DIQ is not motivating you, you can find something that gets you to there. That's exciting.
I like that you said 100 because it also creates longevity instead of a one-time paycheck of a Cadillac.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that paycheck is fun. But yeah, but like, I mean, depending on how hard I work, it's
not
gonna,
always that way.
yeah, it's not
Right.
always gonna be that paycheck.
I
Right.
like that.
But really, truly, and this is good for everybody to know.
Yeah.
Because you guys, as a consultant that's building her team as well, like the faster you get your unit to 50, you do have a little bit more stability. But I promise you, when you hit that 100 mark, like you no longer have to wonder or worry about if you're gonna hit or miss production. I mean, when you have 100 unit members, that 5,000 happens from your base unit very quickly, very
I like
simple,
this.
and you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
And so it's and then you really are working more for the size of your paycheck and all of that, because
Right.
your paycheck is a lot more consistent when you hit 100 unit members.
Right. Which is why that's motivating me. So then I have that on my phone.
Oh, I love that.
100
100.
And so what's your deadline for that?
June.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so there you go. And I'm done.
I love it.
That's
So
fantastic.
much.
I really do.
Let's talk about like what we all learned. I loved this, Krista, that you just broke down for us,
Let's
and
point this somewhere.
finding that. I also really just love your 10 reasons people fail. And I feel like looking back at over the years, for sure.
Right? You can see him. You're like, oh, that's when I did that.
Or, oh yeah, I did all of those all together at one time. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like this is just a really good reminder of all the, because I feel like I've heard these before, but it's a really good reminder of all these different things. And then I feel like also a really good checklist for you to go back to if you're not feeling powerful and just saying, so where am I with this? You know,
Mhm.
is the majority of my thoughts
Right.
these
Where are they?
why I'm failing, or you know, what am I doing on a daily basis?
And I
to
wish I
increase
could
my joy?
remember who trained on that.
Yeah, I love it. It's fantastic.
Let me read some of these. Sarah said, I like the finding that excites you about your goal. If I don't do it, my family wouldn't do anything different and there would be no celebrating. That's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Sad. Anyway,
Who's that?
Sarah's ink.
Okay, who else wants to share?
Okay, I'll share. Well, I love the list of 10 reasons why people fail, because I could see times in my business, in my life, where I have been in those places. But I think just here at the end, when you're talking about the car doesn't excite me, I'll be really honest, I have a really great car, and the car does not excite me. And I can't fit my family in that car anyway.
Right.
So that really doesn't excite me. So, but I do love that what you said that does excite you is building your unit to 100, and I can see the excitement there. So I just need to find what creates that excitement. For me, because yeah, I want to earn that car, but it's like I gotta get the excitement part, the thing that's gonna drive me, the thing that's
Right.
gonna make me want to get it done.
Mhm.
And then it'll happen.
Are you safety and security too, or what are you?
It's my secondary, but it's pretty high.
What's your first one?
Love and connecting.
Love and connecting.
Yeah.
So I would also be thinking about like the relationships you're gonna form as you earn or as you
Right.
build that unit to 100, or
Right.
you know what I mean? Because
Yes.
that's what it will take to build that and have that longevity of those consultants.
Right. Yeah, so that was really awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Your turn. My turn? The biggest thing to me is like what's in the 10 reasons why we fail is lack of focus. I feel like I'm always busy, but I don't feel like I'm ever really getting anything done. And so, like, I've been really struggling with that. And then, where did I write it down? My dishes are not the most important thing. They are not my PA. So I need to.
I have that problem too, though. I totally get it because I'm like, I can't think. My dishes aren't done. Okay, I'm gonna make
Yeah,
a
no,
couple
and I
booking
do.
phone
I'm
calls
like-
and then I'll do some dishes.
I'm
It's
like-
like my reward.
I cannot book in a messy house.
Right. It's hard. It's really difficult, but you have to just be like, I'm gonna do it because then I'll do the dishes and then I'll feel better. I don't allow myself to feel better anymore by doing the dishes because I need bookings.
Well, and I do better. So, like, I've started this thing where I try to do the dishes the night before, so they're done before I go to bed, like after 9 o'clock. But before I go to bed, so that way I don't have dishes to fight with in the morning when I get
Which
up.
is perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but sometimes that doesn't happen, and it's I'm like,
Maybe then you have the morning dishes.
Yeah,
I like to
like,
have.
there's cat hair in my apartment. I gotta vacuum my whole house. Or I'm a really good procrastinator.
It's a talent,
Right?
a bad one.
Yeah. Yeah. And then figure out what numbers I need and just track it. I'm going to, when I get home, I'm gonna track everything everywhere, all in front of my face.
Awesome.
Your turn. Okay. This was super awesome. Definitely needed this. I'm trying to think. The thing I think that spoke to me kind of the most was like everything, but talking about like honestly that last thing we talked about was like what excites you about your goal, where does your focus need to be to gain that, and I feel like that's good for me because I've had the same goal for a long time, and so it's really easy to not be excited about it. Like today I woke up with like crazy motivation. That doesn't usually happen. And so like knowing for me that like I need to know why I want it, and or like that kind of like reason of like what will keep me going even when this motivation isn't there. And I'm totally a safety and security kind of person, but I'm not money motivated. And so like if like I'll be motivated by money only if it's like a security thing, right? If I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna pay my bills, but as soon as I meet my bills, I could care less how much money I make. And so like for me, I need to kind of like change that, knowing that my goal is directorship, and like finishing DIQ and not dropping out or anything like that. Like what needs to motivate me for the next 3 months, well 3.5 months, 4 months, to finish that before seminar, you know, and like and finding that for me. So now I'm like, okay, I gotta start thinking. I gotta do like the self-reflection of like what really is that, because it's gotta be strong enough that it's gonna carry me 4 months, and it's not gonna be something that's gonna carry me for a day, if that makes any sense. So that's what stuck out to me the most.
Awesome.
I'll go, I guess, I don't have to make you turn that back around. I mean, I learned a lot and I talked a lot. So I feel like I loved the 10 ways of failing. The 10 ways to fail, reasons why people fail so you're not gonna fail. I just liked all of it. My brain is just going, so I really liked everything. I feel like I talked too much, so I said what I liked. I loved it all, yeah. I loved it. I think you did a really great job.
Thank you.
Okay. So I loved it all too. Like I took tons of notes and everything. Something that I've been personally focusing on and really working on this since January. Part of my New Year's resolutions is the negative thoughts and changing those. And I feel like I'm a pretty positive person, but I didn't realize that it takes 10 times the positiveness to outweigh. And so just that realization. And sometimes I do say negative things to my husband or to people, or it's just something that I need to be more aware of, even though I feel like I'm positive most of the time. And then also changing that thought in my head, but then working on that with others too. And then also I was super powerful at the end. So like as I was writing down, okay, how will I feel about it? How will my husband feel about it? How blah blah blah. And then you got down to how will I celebrate it? I didn't realize that moved me. How am I gonna celebrate that? What am I gonna do? You know,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Good.
Yeah, I like that one too.
I'll go next. I liked your 10 reasons people fail. I also feel like you've worked really hard on these 10 things for you personally.
Because I had all of them, except for the talent one.
No,
That's somebody.
but like
It was all at the beginning.
so when you were going through them, I'm like, oh my heck, this is what we were talking about last week. This is what we were talking about like a month ago. So to recognize what you're doing and the efforts that you're putting into you've worked on these, and I've noticed, and it also in turn helped me work on them as well. And so I really love that when you are passionate about something, you share it, and then you and I work on it. And even though most people maybe don't know, but Krista and I, our brains are completely the opposite. Like if there's an opposite spectrum and that's us. But then we learn a lot from each other. Like this last week's been really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And so in learning about ourselves and learning how to teach others. So I just really, really feel like you have done so well on these 10. And you've shared with me kind of all along the way. I also love the science behind things. I'm like totally, that like makes me excited to learn about those things. And so I always know I can ask Krista, well, what is the science? Because she's already researched it. I already know she has. And so just knowing those things from Gloria Mayfield Banks. That was awesome. I didn't know those. And those statistics. I know how you feel about numbers and love them. And like,
Because they're real and true.
right.
And safe because they're proven.
And then the last thing, like what Nola was saying about how you're gonna feel, how you're gonna celebrate, and I don't know how I'm gonna celebrate, I don't know exactly how. And I celebrate all along the way too, that's why I got so many pig stuff already. Wait till June, that's all I can say.
She's gonna be dressed up as one with like nose and like ears.
That might happen, but,
It's cool that pigs are pink. Just letting you know.
What I-
Along with everything that you're doing in your life.
right? But what I did love about the questions that you were asking us is that I know me, so trying to figure out me and being okay with me, just like Chris is okay of knowing what motivates her, what gets her buns moving. If I was at your meeting, Jen, and you were to say, you know, I see, you know, you didn't earn this, I'm out of here. That would motivate me like yesterday.
My unit loves it when I say this every week.
Every week.
That's
Well,
why
she
her
had
friends
kids.
are there.
I know me, and it's what if I don't do it.
Right,
That motivates me, not what if I did.
yeah, that's
And
mine
it's
too.
okay, it's okay to know that that's okay, because I thought at first that was wrong. I felt it was wrong, like, oh, well, what if I don't? Well, that's how I work. When Nola went on Target for her car, I'm like, oh, no, she didn't.
And
She's
Lori,
leaving me behind, and Lori, and I was like, I can't be left behind. When Megan started like going super fast with the cruise, I'm like, oh no, she didn't. And guess what happened, right? So it motivates me. So know your motivation. It's not to like, I mean, I like to be the first, but know that it's okay. And even Kristen knowing that she's okay with who she is, just be okay with you. So thank you.
yeah, that was great.
Earn it is like, that's great for you. But mine is like, I'm gonna have hot body again. I'm gonna be like, sad on my stretch marks. And like, and even if I don't have the hot body, I'm still gonna wear my bikini and just like be out in my drink. I'll be so happy. And like, I can envision that. That's my excitement about earning the cruise. Just by myself in my little chair, my drinks, all of them. It's gonna be great. So excited.
I'm glad that motivates you, Jenna.
Yeah, no, for real. Cause I'm not gonna be, you know,
You're not gonna take him with you?
no,
No,
no.
Really?
that's not exciting.
No.
I'm with you, Jenna. I get it.
If he's gonna have blonde hair, he's gonna be pale as a ghost, and he can't tan.
You
it.
have
He
to
don't
worry
sunscreen.
about a child the whole time.
I've already
Yeah.
talked to Tyreek's dad, and I said, look, I love him, but that week is yours.
Right?
I
Right.
will be
10%.
gone,
Okay,
so you get
And
him,
I'm gonna
figure
work
it out.
really hard. Like, I'm gonna work hard on my spiritual and my body, and I'm gonna look good. October 1st, deadline. So excited.
Okay, we have 10%, so.
I think the one that really stuck out to me is acting poorly or acting on poor information. I'm very hot-headed, and so like when I have a friend that used to do Mary Kay, and she attended my son's birthday party, and one of my team members was there, and she was just spewing out negativity about the business and about the people, and that got me all hot-headed.
Good.
And
Like hot-headed being like,
like feeling like because I didn't have
Agreeing with
all
her.
of my information and like the things that I did know like weren't matching up to what she was saying, and I'm like, I want to do the research, but at the same time I just want to defend, you know, and I'm like, my teammate is looking at me like, what the hell did you just get me into? You know, and like she's panicking, I'm panicking, and then like
who is this person?
She's a friend.
and then I went home and I went on my In Touch and I was just reading about the business, and I texted Stacy. I'm like, I'm gonna lose my team member. Like, I'm freaking out right now. I don't really know what to tell her. So just like, because I didn't really have all my facts together, you know, I was kind of getting hot about what she was saying, you know, and like I was trying to like act on that and like not really just have myself together, you know. So going up, you know, for the information that you need to somebody that's been there, done that, know what they're doing, I think it's super important. I'm so glad you brought that out.
One you did two really
You
great
reached
things.
out to Stace.
You reached out to me, and at the same time, you went on In Touch. You didn't Google the world of Mary Kay. You went
That's
straight
right.
to
That's a
the
mistake.
source. That's
Yeah.
huge.
You probably find
Went
your
straight to
friend
the
on
source to
Vince.
find the information, not another
Right.
person or thing, because you can find anything on Google.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
is this is a friend?
Yes.
So I'm just wondering, has
She's
there,
gonna say
has
something right
there
now.
been a conversation to the friend yet?
About what she was
Mhm.
talking about?
Mhm.
Not exactly. I've just kind of dropped it.
Yeah.
Just because I know that she's not going to do Mary Kay ever again. She loves the product and she'll buy from me, and that's okay. But I know that she won't be an asset to this
Yeah,
family.
yeah. So I think all I was gonna say is, number one, I don't think you ever have to defend, like what you're doing. And I think the moment you do start defending, your, what's that word called? Your, yes, the credibility, your credibility goes down. Like, you don't have to defend what you're doing, nor do you have to defend your choices of like, and your faith of what you have in this business. So you not saying anything was probably a good thing. Like, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
But I think also because in a public setting, usually it's gonna come off more hostile, you know, than anything. I was just curious if there's been a conversation for the sheer fact if she is a friend. Not that you have to defend, nor do you have to bring any sort of facts to her, but as a friend, I would probably say something to the effect of, you know, I want you to understand, and I want you to hear where I'm coming from, that I'm very excited, and, you know, the things that you shared the other day with my team member, from what I understand, is not anywhere close to what it actually is. I know in your brain it probably is, you know, however you're gonna word that. But what is important to me is your support.
Right.
So if you can't support me
Don't show up.
in a social setting,
Right.
yeah, then don't come.
Yeah.
Because as a friend, that is not somebody I would want in my circle, nor would I want them sharing with my people. But I think it's also important for you to set that boundary.
Okay.
And then whatever she chooses to do with it is her deal. But if she crosses that again, she's not gonna be friends with me
Super
anymore.
disrespectful.
So does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
I
that
think there
makes
needs to be a boundary set, not defending, but just letting her know, like, that wasn't okay with me.
Right.
And that's hard too, because are you newer in Mary Kay or have you been in Mary Kay for a while?
newer.
She's super new and she's a freaking rock star.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's important too,
It's been a month?
I don't think it's
So
even
it
been a
hasn't been
month.
a month yet.
because it took me a long time to say that to my family, and my family were the ones who printed out 50 pages of truthtothepink.com or whatever, and put it all over the bedroom and everything, and it took me 3
While I
years.
was there.
Yeah, while Jen was there helping me. And it was hard for me because I love my family and I can't really just say you're out of my life. But there was a point that I said, if you're not gonna support what I'm choosing to do to support myself because you're not paying my bills, I'm gonna tell you to not ever bring it up, and I won't bring it up around you either. And it was because I loved them enough that I wanted to keep them in my life that I had that conversation. So if it's like with a lot of friends, I didn't have the conversations because I decided that it was some friends you can choose to let go because maybe you've outgrown them. But if this is someone that like is super important, I think it's also important for them to know that hurt my heart and this is important to me. And if you can't support me, I'm sorry it didn't work for you, but it's gonna work for me. So I'm
And
sorry it didn't
your
work for you.
success will be all the proof she needs
Right.
to ever hear.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's why you don't need to defend it, because like your success will speak more words than you'll ever have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she'll come up and say, how'd you do it?
Hey, let me show you.
Could I add something to that? I had, so I have several, people who are really good customers of mine who buy very regularly from me, who used to be consultants from other places long times ago or whatever. And I had one that's been one of my really close friends, and she, and this goes along just with what we were talking about. She kind of badmouthed Mary Kay like once, and I don't think I said anything to like contrary of what she said at the time. But I think at the very end of the conversation, I said, well, I really love this business, and I can't wait to see it through, and I can't wait to get all these awesome things that Mary Kay has done for other people. And she like didn't say anything more about it, pretty much. But it's been so cool because you know, doing my business for the past 2 years, she's never badmouthed Mary Kay ever again. And she has like I feel like she has like a huge sense of pride in me of what I've accomplished, because for her it like totally didn't work. And so like that was really cool for me because I never had to say anything to her really about like defending Mary Kay, or I never had to prove to her anything, and yet she took it as proof of like me being successful, seeing like, you know, just where I am with my family and like those kind of things. And like that's really cool because our relationship got a lot deeper, and now I think she would never badmouth Mary Kay in front of me ever, which is really cool to see. But I didn't have to like correct her, which is kind of cool. So like just going on what Jen said, like total proof that like the only proof that she needs is to see you be successful, and their whole world will change, which is really cool. And you never know, like maybe she'll come back, who knows. You know, she may completely change her mind in 5 years.
And it's never fun to be on defense mode anyways.
No.
It's never fun to have to feel like you're on defense mode. So, and Jen would tell me this, and I think lots of nationals is the moment you start to defend yourself is the moment you degrade what you're doing.
I have to work on that, cause I'm
It's
like
hard.
more of a fight than flight personality. So I will fight you on anything, even if I know I'm wrong, but. But, you
Where
know,
are you
just.
from?
Huh?
Where do you live?
In Ammon?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maureen, did you want to share?
Oh, sure. So this was great. This was beautiful. I loved it all. And one thing I learned, it's like what really excites you. I feel like that's something I didn't even think about, because it's like I have so many different goals, but it's like cool to get them, but I have to figure out what really excites me. And I think I am all about power and achievement. So if there's nobody else that I'm supposed to beat, then it's like I'll get there eventually. But is it really going to happen? No. So I think that's what I need to really figure out. It's how to get there my way.
Also important, if you're power and achievement, to remember though, is those milestones are there for a reason. And so you have to find ways to like achieve, you know what I mean? Even if there's not an actual physical person you're racing with, like achieving against yourself. Because if you're not, and you're not feeling that satisfaction in your business, you will find it other places. And so then you'll find yourself, just like it's exactly what we had talked about in our training, I think the last time, that if that need is not being met, you'll find it somewhere else, you know, and then you'll find yourself giving 145 million% to other things and letting your business slip because you're not feeling that need that has to be met. I mean, maybe like look at it like, I'm gonna be the first consultant in any of our directors to earn the cruise.
Well, once you get the cruise, that's like, I'll have to.
Or you could say, I'm gonna be Jen done with the cruise. Now that'd be a big deal.
Ooh.
That sounded like a challenge.
That'd be good for me as well, because I'm power and achievement too.
Malvina,
Yeah,
that
she's
sounded
like,
like a
please race
challenge.
me. Oh, I am very, very competitive.
But do you know what I mean? Like
so-
find ways that you could look at that, like, okay, could I be, because you know dang well, if you're the first consultant, you're gonna get all sorts of crazy praise. And so that would motivate me.
Also, I look at this, so I was watching the video before I showed up here, how you said it's April 1st if you want to walk on that stage.
Yeah.
So I do not like to be left out, so knowing that if I don't do what I'm supposed to do,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be there. And that, I don't like that at all. So,
Yeah, okay.
so that was very helpful to know that, since it's like June is far away, but if you don't do what you're supposed to do, then that's not gonna ever happen.
Yeah,
And I
and so
think
April 1st gives you the 3 months. You don't have to take all 3 months.
It
Like,
doesn't matter, like,
yeah.
I need a specific deadline, like, it's
Yeah.
either you hit it or you miss it, and I don't like to miss things, so,
well then let's get on it.
yes.
I love it. Okay. Okay. This is
I
great.
do work great under pressure, so, like, last minute, so that's why I said I'm really great at procrastinating.
I feel like that's good to know about yourself too, because I actually work better under pressure than I do when there's not pressure.
Oh, I'm the same way.
So some people are microwaves, some people are crock pots. Okay, so it's important, no, truly, it's important for you to know how you work, because pressure sometimes shuts people down, and then on other people, it turns them up. And so the fact that you know that about yourself, so when I said at our meeting the other night, when I said, if Ricky said, you have no time after March is the deadline to earn your cruise, everybody that works well under pressure would get it done. Anybody who didn't would shut down.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So
Can you be both?
You've gotta find a way to put pressure on yourself. Mine was when Jeremy wasn't working and going to school, that was a lot of pressure to make sure that I had all of our bills paid and all of that, you know what I mean? Once he got a job, it was like, this huge weight had been lifted, and I was like, cool beans, you know what I mean?
I don't have to do
I'm
anything.
good, but I had to find ways to keep that pressure on myself because I work better when I feel that. So, you gotta find those things.
I do.
Yep. Okay, let's eat.
All right.
This is great. All right,
You didn't share.
I did share.